Hey, welcome in.
Welcome to the Arrowhead Addict podcast.
We are here coming to you live.
Let me tell you, the dopamine, it's flowing.
I am damn excited. Damn excited.
We are so excited to be joining you guys tonight.
Oh! Well, how you doing, man? Patrick.
Will Sterling.
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion, two-time Pro Bowler, and Trent Green. Trent Green, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Oh, he picked it up! He picked it up! He's gonna score!
And we'll see you next week. But until then, as always, go Chiefs. Welcome in. It's the Arrowhead Addict podcast. It is Thursday, September 11th, 2025. That means it's time for the OG Hour. Patrick Allen here with you, joined by the editor-in-chief of arrowheadaddict.com and a host on this podcast. Yeah, editor-in-chiefs, Matt Connor. How you doing, Matt?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. Gearing up for week 2. Still trying to keep salt out of the wounds of week 1. You?
Yeah. I'm crazy busy, man. I got work. I got the 1-year-old, and I'm in a play next week here in the south side of Chicago. The Crucible.
Hey,
Arthur Miller. Know by now. Little Arthur Miller playing a little John Proctor in the Crucible. 8 billion lines, and I'm freaking out. Starting to freak out a little bit.
Yeah,
nervous. I've been on stage
playing
in a minute.
Proctor. That's a big role.
It's a big role, and it's especially a big role when you've had a 17-year hiatus from acting. I went and I auditioned for the show, and I'm like, it's been so long. I miss theater. I love acting. I want to get back and do it. Here's a nice little community theater production. I'll audition. Maybe I can get like Reverend Paris or, just get on stage again. It'll be incredible. And I go in there and, as my wife said, fuck around and get the lead. And so I was a nice, easy role too, just to wade back into the pool. Simple, emotionally, not too taxing, all that stuff. Thankfully, it's only four shows, but it's my parents are coming to town. It's like it's a whole thing. It's going to be my work is going to suffer. I'm just telling you all that right now.
Ahead of time.
Yeah, indeed. But speaking of suffering, Chiefs fans have been suffering since that week 1 disaster. And we're going to talk about that. This is a panic meter episode. We're going to bust out the panic meter. We're going to see where Matt is at, where you all are at. So if you're watching on YouTube, do me a solid, hit a like button over there. Make sure you're subscribed. Let's get some Chiefs fans in here and see how everybody's feeling as we head into this Super Bowl rematch, 0-1. And before we get to the reads, Matt, I just want to get, because you and I haven't really chatted since last week. How'd you take that game against the Chargers in Sao Paulo?
Yeah, I had very mixed emotions overall. Very frustrating to watch the game. After the fact, didn't feel too worried. The NFL season's a long one. Good teams lose. Sometimes good teams lose to bad teams. Not saying the Chargers are bad, but just saying, we've all seen, we've talked about all this. Even like online and in various ways. So, trying to keep a steady whole, but there are a number of alarming areas that I'm keeping an eye on for the next month or so, wondering how much to panic about them.
Yeah, and we're going to get to talk about all of that in just a minute. Before we do, I've got to let you know that we're working with Underdog again here at the Arrowhead Addict podcast. Football's back, and so the Underdog is the best place to make picks to win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. You just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on a stat like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. And if you get your picks right, you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. That's not too bad, huh? And you could play for as little as $1. I have a lot of fun playing on Underdog. It's really simple. If I'm watching a game, looking for a little bit of fun, an extra entertainment, a second screen experience, I can just log in very simply, pick a couple of these. The app's really easy to use, and have a little bit like tonight, Thursday Night Football. I'm going to be at rehearsal, unfortunately, so I'm not going to be able to watch live, but I'm locked in. I'm going to have Mag texting me on the side here. I'm looking at the Commanders-Packers game tonight. I got Terry McLaurin lower than 55.5 receiving yards. I just think that Packers defense looked pretty ferocious last week against a really good offense. So I think Scary Terry, who already got off to a slow start this year, could struggle. And give me Josh Jacobs for higher than half a rushing plus receiving touchdown. I think he's going to get in there. You download the app today. You sign up with our promo code Arrowhead Addict to score $50 in bonus funds when you place your first $5. That's promo code Arrowhead Addict. Millions of fans have won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. I'm president of a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html. Simple to remember for the details. The offer is not valid in Maryland, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So if you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE New York or text HOPE New York to 467-369. All right, let's talk some Chiefs, and thank you for your support of Underdog and the Arrowhead Addict podcast. Matt,
that fine print is like saying is me having to type Duvernay Tardif over and over again during those during his years with all those hyphenated names. You're like, come on, man, just choose one.
Did you move to a system of we're going to write his name out once and it's LTD for the rest of the article?
I should have just created macros and then like write a little thing and it automatically populates. But
yeah, indeed. So just quickly on the news front for the Chiefs, the injury report. I don't think the Thursday injury report has come out, but somebody just tweeted. Oh, Matt McMullen from the Chiefs tweeted that Jalen Royals will not practice for the Chiefs today. Everybody else, including Xavier Worthy, is scheduled to work in some capacity. That's good news because he was huge. Both of those guys were a DNP yesterday for the Wednesday report. So the fact that even if, and I assume he probably is going to be limited today, the fact that Xavier Worthy is going to be working is a very good sign. It means that they're trying to get him. I mean, why would they mess around having him do anything if they knew for sure he wasn't going to be playing this week?
Yeah. I wouldn't expect him to play this week, and it wouldn't even surprise me if he missed a couple games. Who knows? But I think the major takeaway here is that like originally right after the injury, it looked like this could be a season-long thing, or it looked like a very serious thing that was going to lead to shades of 2024 where both Rice and Hollywood Brown were out for all season or the vast majority of the season. With Rice already being gone for the first 6 weeks, it was like, oh my gosh, is this happening again? And the good news is it's not happening again. The Chiefs will have a stretch without their two best pass catchers, which they both are, by the way. That's you can't contest that. You just can't. And so there will be a stretch, and maybe it will be 1 month, but that's the max it will be. And this news makes it seem like he's even closer than ever. So, it's hard to read the tea leaves for like exactly when week 2, week 3, week 4, but forward progress, man, forward progress.
Yeah. You don't think there's any chance that he comes out with a brace on, and if there's no risk for further injury, is just a pain management issue?
It feels like going out to limit it. We'll find out later on. We'll find out, with like some real quotes from Andy Reid and the presser saying how much he's able to do, how much more. That feels like a severe on-ramp. And I know there's this sense of like no one wants to be 0-2. You'd love to beat the Eagles, but those short term, like no one's going to remember if we beat the Eagles in week 2 later down the road. No one is. Yeah. And no one's going to care if you're 0-2 later on if you win enough to get in the play. I mean, it's like the short term gains based on the severity of the injury and the fact that he's just now coming back. I just can't imagine he goes from just now coming back to like snaps in the game. I wouldn't bet on that if I were if speaking of betting.
Yeah, it's tough. So much is made about, if you start 0-2, you're doomed. And it's like, it's sort of silly. And I know there are statistics behind it, but teams have 2-game losses all the time in the NFL and still make the playoffs. It's just so magnified when it's the beginning of the season. And I think they're generally teams that start 0-2 don't make the playoffs a lot because they probably just aren't very good, right? And that's why they started 0-2. In this case, we know that this is a good football team, that this is a playoff caliber and playoff level football team. So if they were to start 0-2, it's unfortunate. But hey, the game they needed to win was that Chargers game. That's a divisional game. That's an AFC game. This is an NFC game. And while it would suck and they'll have to dig themselves out of a hole, we saw this team dig themselves out of it. What were they? 0-5 with Alex Smith and then made the playoffs, something like that.
True. That was true. Yeah, they ran off
1-4. Yeah.
like 9 straight wins that season
Yeah.
or more.
Yeah. So, and we have Patrick Mahomes. So and we're going to do panic meter here right now. I don't overreact. I think Chiefs fans should be concerned, and we're going to talk about that, but don't go crazy, even if they get their butts kicked by the Eagles, because it's Andy Reid, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's hard to see a situation where they don't make the playoffs. It's not impossible, but let's wait till we get a little deeper in the season before we go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And I don't think there's any chance that the Eagles like stomp them like before. Like that happens so rarely to an Andy Reid led team. Yeah, a loss, that's one thing, but like something demoralizing like the Super Bowl, that was just so shocking because of its rarity that there's just no way I don't think that's within the realm of possibility this time around.
All right, we will talk about it. Let's dust off the panic meter. Everybody out there in YouTube land, and shout out to our members. Of course, we appreciate your support. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Arrowhead Addict podcast, check out the link in the description. Jake Ayers in the chat says, "What's up, boys? Great to be able to take a break from the chaos and chat about something that we can all love. Go Chiefs." Indeed, Jake. I'm not going to go into it. We are just living in a very upsetting and violent time. And all I'll say about it is, and there's a string of violence, not just what happened yesterday, but this week and going even further back. Just try to love one another, y'all. We don't have to divide into two camps on everything. We're all human beings. If we just try to remember that, I think it could get us a lot farther. But we've got some serious things to work out, and we're happy to be here as a distraction for you because sometimes it's just a little bit too much to bear. All right, let's dive into the panic meter. I put down a few questions here that we can dive into a little bit. And what we're going to do here, Matt, I want to know, and you let us know in the chat as well, if you're watching, are you at full panic, mild panic, or no panic on these? And the first one I'm going to throw out there is the one that's on my mind, the pass defense. Full panic, mild panic, or no panic?
I would say mild panic here. Any real areas of panic I have about the Chiefs are going to probably fall on the defensive side. And, the pass defense is certainly that. I'm sure you guys have talked about it ad nauseum on the podcast. We're so soft in the middle of the defense so many times that Justin Herbert could complete easy first downs. They knew exactly what was coming on third down. We could talk about pass rush in just a second. But the Nick Bolton in coverage, that's not good. Asking Chamari Connor as a Connor, let me just say, you can't ask us to do things we're not good at. It will not work out. So, they're asking Connor to do things in the slot. There are ways to use him and use him effectively. He should be in the mix at safety, and stop putting him there at, in some sort of nickel corner role. It's just not going to happen. And the Chargers picked that apart. Philly, Smyrna, any well-coached team is going to know what to do there. So the reason that's mild panic for me, despite the abysmal results in week one, specifically in that middle of the field area, Christian Fulton's only going to get healthier. And Spags has pointed out about Christian Fulton, it's really not about his health. More so now, it's just about learning the playbook, learning as a newcomer to the defense. Spags asks a lot. He's going to need, so Fulton's only going to get better. They're only going to learn these lessons easier. Noel Williams, young player, he's going to get more snaps. So I don't think these problems are going to extend forever. That said, Spags is slow to make adjustments. These guys really like problems to prove their problems, which is really frustrating when you're watching week to week. Typically, I'm a big fan in any area of life of being non-reactive. Like it's very good to be a steady presence and to have
Mm,
a good frame of mind about things. But in the NFL, when every game means so much, it can be really hard to not be reactive. And then you want your team to be reactive, right? So
yeah.
mild panic for me. What about you?
I'm in full panic. And you're right. This may change. This is not the final. Look, everything's amplified because it's week one. So it feels like it's all we have to go on. If they played well on defense and then pass defense through 4 or 5 weeks, and then they had a game like that where like they just couldn't stop anything and they were getting play action to death, I wouldn't be feeling the level of panic that I'm having. But I am going to base my opinion while I'm answering these questions on what I have seen and not what I hope to see or what I even think I might see in the future. Where is this team right now? And that was ugly. They couldn't stop anything. They were one, maybe 2 step behind what the Chargers were doing on offense all night long. And then it was just kind of like, it's going to be play action. And they were just like, what? And it's wide open, wide open. Keenan Allen's like a million. I love Keenan Allen. He's a million years old. He wasn't even in training camp. He just like shows up and there he is. He's out there like carving us up like a Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah.
They were getting pressures. I know it didn't feel like it, but I think the Chiefs did have like 10 pressures in this game, but none of it led to sacks. I thought Karlaftis looked good in the first half, but like I'm wondering if they have the horses back there in the secondary. And maybe it was that Spags was just like, they're gonna run because it's Harbaugh and they've got Hampton, and like we're gonna do that. And they just caught with their pants down and just refused to adjust. But I think the Chargers could have run on the Chiefs if they wanted to. They just didn't need to. And that's a really deflating feeling as a fan, to be like, holy crap, like they didn't look ready. There were only a few plays. They came out of the second half and I saw some aggression and some down, and I was like, okay, all right, we're going to be okay. And then it withered on the vine. I'm in a full on panic about it. I'm very concerned about the Eagles game, which we're going to talk about next. But in the chat, Major Chip Hazard says we all thought they were going to run for sure. Absolutely. Mile High Luke says no chance Mahomes goes under 500 for the first 6 games. I hope you're right. And Joshua Clayton over on Facebook, I believe, says they could have run all over us. They could have, I think. Yeah. So I'm on full panic until proven otherwise.
You're saying about the pass defense, you're full panic.
Yes, pass defense. Yeah.
Yeah. Look. Let me add some context here that I think is important. That makes that a little bit more surprising to me. I was a little surprised at how bad they looked because not many teams in the NFL have the number of players in a contract year that the Chiefs do, right? Like the great Therese Paylor used to say, the contract year is undefeated, right? It's like maximum motivation to get paid. You go all out in the contract year. Now, like in terms of big players, those guys are never going anywhere. Teams will franchise tag them. They'll sign them. So we're not talking about those players, but players who can really either earn that next contract or not. Safety Brian Cook, a linebacker Leo Chenal, cornerbacks and defensive backs like Najee Johnson, Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams. Casey has so many defenders who should be playing their asses off for the big check. This is like these guys dream of making generational wealth their whole lives, put in all this time, and this is the year to like come through. We saw that with Colin Saunders, and he signed the big deal. And like we see this every year with certain players. Certain defenders make the big step, and then Casey has to decide how real is this? How motivated was this? Like whatever. You have so many guys on that defense who can earn that. And I'm watching that game going, how in the world is Brian Cook that slow to get there? Why is the tackling so bad from Jalen Watson here? Why is I'm watching some of these guys just play, and here's maybe the caveat I'd give them. I'm watching the game thinking, why do these guys look like they just got off a plane from Brazil? And then I'm thinking, they just got off a plane from Brazil. So did the Chargers, by the way, but they were there at least a day earlier. And I don't know what effect that is. And there are 100 layers to everything. So you can't just say it's this or that. But I'm looking at this team going, if Andy Reid is the king of preseason readiness, why did the Chiefs look flatter than any other team in week 1? It makes zero sense to me, especially with a team loaded with guys who should be more motivated than ever.
Yeah, it's really concerning, and it's not going to get any easier this weekend. Okay, let us know in the chat what you think. Panic meter, full panic, mild panic, no panic, the running game. And I'm doing that in quotes, the running game. I could kick us off on this one.
Please
full
do.
panic. I'm in a full panic about the running game. And look, it's not like the Chiefs really tried to run the ball against the Chargers, which is disappointing. I think Pacheco and Hunt had like 5 carries apiece, something ridiculous like that. But my panic about the running game is also somewhat tied to the fact that they won't even try to see if they could have a running game. Like, pick somebody. You know, I know Andy loves the matchups and he loves to run guys on and off the field. Pick somebody and stick with them. Let them get going. Actually try to run the football. Like, when you're number 1 receiver with Rashee Rice out, Xavier Worthy gets clobbered by your own tight end on like the 3rd play of the game and he's done. Like, maybe, shift the game plan a little bit. Pacheco looks fast. His vision may not be any better than it has been, but this is a guy who's averaged, close to 5 yards per carry for a season. Like, give him the ball. Let him get going. Let him make those idiots from the Chargers tackle him, regardless of if it's, he runs into Creed Humphrey first. But they're just not going to do that. They're going to give him a carry on a series and then bring in Kareem Hunt and give him a carry and then trot him back over to the sidelines and have him get cold. And it's the first game of the season too. So a big part of my issue with it is with Andy. And what I want him to do is put Bashard Smith back there and just run him.
Sure.
He's got juice, man. Him and Pacheco, Hunt and short yardage, go. Right. But actually have a running game, have a plan to make things easier on your offense that has basically 2 rookies, right? Kingsley's been around, but he's in there with Josh Simmons. The whole left side of your line is new. Your quarterback has to get comfortable with that. And the things that those 2 guys, Kingsley Suamataia and Josh Simmons, do best right now is run block. They're actually pretty good at it. So why don't you get behind those guys? God knows Creed and Trey Smith are nasty. They can get out there and run block and make things a little bit easier on your offense and open things up, especially when you've got Tyquan Thornton making an impact and Patrick willing to throw the deep ball. Open that damn play action up, man. It's just maddening, and it probably won't change. And I'm in full on.
Yeah, I mean, it is maddening. I mean, imagine if I invited you over to my garage and you were like, "What's that leaning against the wall in the corner?" And I was like, "Oh, I was just at a Sotheby's auction the other day and bought a Picasso, and then thought I would just leave it here." You'd be like, "Why aren't you hanging that sucker up? Like, why is that not front and center in your house?"
Yeah.
You just paid through the nose to have the NFL's top paid guard. You have a center that reset the market for centers. If Kingsley's anything, he's a run mauler. Your core is built to do one thing. In fact, you even got rid of Tooney to make your core even more one-dimensional. Let the maulers maul. And then you don't let them maul. So it's like they're just the painting sitting in the garage. You're wondering, why'd you even buy it then if you're not going to use it? Those guys can do it. You don't even need a game breaker behind them. They will help them break the game open by wearing the opposition down. I don't get it at all. I'm with you. Also, by the way, if Elijah Mitchell does not have the explosiveness he had in 2021 when he set franchise rookie rushing records with the Niners, why is he on the roster? If he's on the roster, then I'm assuming you like what you see in him. If he's on the roster and he doesn't have that spark, what the hell is he doing here? You either keep him and use him, or you get rid of him and because you can't. But keeping him on the roster as a healthy scratch when the backfield is in such bad shape as it is, I'm just going I don't get any of it, man. I don't get. But honestly, I banged this gong the entire offseason going, and people were like, "Why are you a Pacheco hater?" And it's like, just because the guy leads the franchise in rushing yards doesn't mean he's good. It just means the franchise doesn't have other good running backs. He's a stellar find for a 7th rounder. That's fine. But this franchise has been missing juice in the backfield for a very long time. They make this job way too hard on Patrick Mahomes, way harder than it ever needs to be. And we saw it glaringly on Sunday. They asked a magician to pull the rabbit out of his hat, and he did. And the crowd still wasn't there to enjoy the show at the end of the it didn't work, man. It didn't work. Mahomes just can't handle that all by himself to the degree that the Chiefs ask of him week after week after week after week.
Yeah, and then you have Jawan Taylor over there. Like, you know what might help him settle down a little bit? When he knows he doesn't have to go backwards every single play. Maybe you get a few less penalties. I mean, and shout out to Dog Petter for the super chat. He says 100-yard game from Thornton incoming. That'd be very, very good news if that happens. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm in full on panic about it. It's largely on Andy, I think. And yeah, like you've got Elijah Mitchell on the roster still if he doesn't have it, and then you bring Clyde back to the practice squad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to bring Clyde back, there's got to be somebody out there that's actually fast. You know what I mean? Like, they could at least if all they could give you is what Clyde could give you, at least there's the actual threat that they might be able to run away from somebody. Let's keep it moving here. On to another one on the panic meter, and it's just I just wrote here Kingsley. Full panic, mild panic, no panic. You kick us off this time, Matt.
I'm probably no panic on this. He's new at the position. I think the Chiefs know what they have. I think they're going to let him play. I think they're going to let him grow with the role. Things weren't horrible on last Friday, a week ago Friday. I think that's a good sign going forward. It's a young line. They're going to grow together. He already does some things very well, like we were talking about with the run game. So yeah, I just don't think that is the source of worry that it looked like in the preseason, which, by the way, was such small sample sizes, and we don't know what they're being asked to do there. The preseason is just a big lab, and it's hard to complain about what happens inside a laboratory experiment. So, yeah, I'll take what I saw from him in week 1 and assume better things there going forward. So I kind of have no panic about that. Although I will say, I believe the worst move of the Chiefs offseason was trading Joe Thuney in the first place. I think there was already plenty in the tank. The deal he signed with Chicago makes it clear he wants to keep playing, and he's maybe the best interior pass protector in the NFL among the top 3 for sure. So I didn't get it.
Yeah, I'm going to go mild panic here. I wonder if he's just not an NFL offensive lineman, but it's weird. It's the litmus test for Kingsley is like, was it a disaster for me? And if it wasn't a disaster, I'm like, well, it wasn't a disaster. How about that? Maybe we're moving in the right direction. So it wasn't a disaster. I'm willing to go on with the experiment to see if he can improve and become a serviceable guard for this team. If he can, that's worth the investment. He was a higher pick, and there's nobody else. Like, it's not going to be Mike Caliendo that's going to step in, right? So he has the athletic skill set to do this. Can he do it? Can he make those strides? They don't really have any other choice in the matter unless they're going to make a midseason trade. So, but I am mildly panicking, but I'm not panicking as badly as I was after some of his preseason reps.
Just a real quick, like don't forget, they're not the same player, but like Mekhi Becton failed on the outside. He had to switch teams, but they give him the chance to make good at right guard, the Eagles. And then he really comes through, and then now is with the Chargers. We just saw him last week. But like, these kinds of stories are there where if there is a natural skill set, a change of scenery, a change of position, the responsibilities are not the same. And yeah, anyway, I'm just saying the stories are there to look at and go, hey, all's not lost here, and we don't need to write the book on Suamataia just yet.
Yeah, indeed. I'm with you there. But yeah, I just want to see that progress. Okay. Panic meter, full panic, mild panic, no panic. Let us know in the chat how you feel. Travis Kelce. Now, I think a lot of people are going to look at this and say, hey, man, he had a big catch and run, touchdown. made an impact, that was huge. I am not one of those people. That play, now look, I thought he looked reasonably fast when he was running to the end zone, which is that's a good sign because he's a little bit older. And so, speed is important in the NFL, and especially when you weren't that fast to begin with, you're a tight end. You don't want to lose too much of that. So I like the way he finished that run, that he made it into the end zone, especially after how slow he looked in the playoffs last year when he broke away and got caught from behind and was huffing and puffing. But at the end of the day, that was kind of a blown coverage. It was a good design. They thought he was on a screen. The defenders came down and he just slipped out of there and was wide open. It was a great play design, but if you run that play to Noah Gray, it's the same result. There was nothing that Travis Kelce did on that route that is the stuff that he is famous for and is going to go in the Hall of Fame for. It was a good play design and it sprung him. And this is a game where he finished with 4 targets, 2 receptions for 47 yards. So outside of that design play, he was a non-factor, and Patrick really wasn't even looking to him. And again, there was no Xavier Worthy. Patrick. He might throw 300 balls to Hollywood Brown this weekend. He targeted Hollywood Brown 16 times.
Yeah,
because he seems to be the only person that he really, really can count on and trust. A little bit with Juju, but Juju is old as well. So I'm in mild panic about Travis. It's just one game, but they needed him in this one to do his thing, and it just seems like it wasn't there. And so I've been bullish on him this season, all off season, but I'm concerned.
Yeah, this is a very complicated thing for me because on the one hand, you have maybe the greatest player of all time at the position who wants to doubt him, who wants to be the one to say, hey guys, I think the best ever may not have it in the tank. At the same time, look, Mahomes loves Kelce, loves going to him, knows exactly where he's going to be at all times, and went to Hollywood Brown 4 times as often in this game. That tells you everything you need to know about a defense's ability to take Travis out of the game. The separation's not there. I'm glad he's young. I'm glad he's looking slimmer. I'm glad he's feeling faster. Maybe there will be games where defenses aren't as good at taking him out of the game, and some of those efforts will still look like the Travis of old. But without Rice, who is the volume target, without Worthy, who was growing into a real volume target in the postseason, led all receivers with touchdowns, receptions, and receiving yards in the postseason. It went to Brown. And Brown is not exactly like the great separator. The Chiefs have nobody, man. Yeah. Nobody. Juju, not separate. Like, none of these guys are getting separation. So I think it's the fact that he went to Hollywood so much, I think is very telling in what you're talking about. And man, if you're already coming off a down year and then you want to play one more year, like that doesn't age. When does that ever age well? The guy who looked old, not looking older for another year, like that script is so rare. I don't know. It's just one game. Maybe mild panic is the right way to say it. And it feels weird to even talk about Trav in that way, but yeah.
And even more concerning is that Patrick targeted Hollywood Brown 16 times, and Hollywood Brown finished with 10 receptions for 99 yards. Now, 10 receptions on 60 targets, not great, but it's a lot. High volume. He caught 10 balls. But the even more depressing thing is if you didn't watch the game and you looked at the line and you were like, oh, Hollywood had 10 receptions for 99 yards. And then you look and you see that he caught a 49-yard pass in this game, right? It was Mahomes' magic that made that happen. It wasn't really like Hollywood doing anything too incredible. So if we're going to take those 99 yards and we subtract the 49-yard pass from it, that's 50 yards receiving on 9 receptions. Again, we're removing it. So that's an average of 5.5 yards a reception. They were doing this thing, and this is another one of the reasons why they lost. If you go back and you watch that game, and I don't recommend it, but if you do, Patrick had all of these like one-step drops. He goes like one step back and fires the ball. And these passes, a lot of them were to Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown would take like 2 steps and just turn and catch the ball. They're trying to get the ball out.
Short crosser, short. Yeah.
Right. And Mahomes, when he does this one-step drop, he pats the ball before he throws it. And that's why Tart was knocking down all of those passes, because teams are going to look at the film and they know when he drops back like 1-2 step drop and that ball's coming out. So the pass rushers know when he does that, as soon as they see him stop, abort the pass rush. I'm not getting home. It's going to be impossible because that ball is coming out. He takes 2 steps, pats the ball, arms up, and he's going to keep getting batted passes unless, one, he needs to stop patting the ball and telling when he's going to throw it. That would be helpful. But two, they have to have more of an offense than this. You know what I mean? Like, it can't. That teams are too smart. There's too much tape. That's not going to work. Maybe it'll work for you a few times a game, but it didn't work in this one, and it's not going to continue to work because defenders are they're not even going to bother rushing the passer. They're just going to stand there and wait and then just make a wall with their hands.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Pat creating patterns that other people could see. Pat is, I think, the most intelligent quarterback of the business. He's going to know what I think he's going to know what he's doing there. Also, to go back to Kelsey, one of the commenters here, KCDC, brought up something that Travis brought up in his presser or on New Heights. He said the injury to Xavier got in Kelsey's head. According to Travis's own story, he said, I had a hard time playing the entire first half, knowing that he had caused an injury to his teammate like that, and that it looked horrible at the moment. You know, I mean, he went from he had to go to the locker room, then is questionable, then is out. That is a rough progression. Travis is probably hearing these updates and going, oh my gosh, what I caused wasn't like a hiccup. This could really be a thing, and we just got started. So it's possible that some of what we saw there was like Travis in his own head. Maybe. I'm just saying the ongoing script here doesn't look good. But that is an important point to bring up, and maybe we'll see something different this week.
I don't want to minimize Travis's experience, so that's not what I'm doing here. But you're Travis Kelce. Like, you have played in some of the biggest moments. You helped engineer a drive in 13 seconds. You basically engineered the entire drive. You have been in tight spots before. You've had your back against the wall. That running into your own, like, it sucks. You got to suck it up and go out there and perform. You get paid millions of dollars. You're a Hall of Famer. If that's what I just, maybe in his head that affected him, but I don't know, man.
Okay, but sure.
You didn't do anything in the second half either.
Let me just put it like this. You drive every day. How many years of your life have you driven? If you got in a car wreck this morning, for the rest of the day, are you not jittery at the wheel? Even though I could
100%.
say, hey,
but Travis Kelce gets in car wrecks. That's my point. Like, on the football field, he has, maybe this specific situation has never happened, but upsetting, distracting things that take you out of the game have happened to Travis Kelce. He saw Patrick Mahomes' knee slide to the other side, the wrong side.
Well, sure,
on
but
the
these
field,
things don't
and so
happen
on
all the
again.
time or in every game. You run into one of your own players, he's probably more important than you are to the offense. You thinking now he's gone and maybe gone for a long time, and it was your fault. I don't know. I think maybe there is a shock factor there.
So I agree. And it's not that I'm not sympathetic to him. My point is, you've got to overcome it. You're Travis Kelce. Like, and if anything, now you really need to perform because you effed up. Like, this is the NFL, like, these guys, they make mistakes. They cause, game-changing penalties. They fumble the ball. Like, Travis has fumbled the ball. Like, you can't let that stop you from doing your job. And yeah, it's an unfortunate situation. It's so weird that it happened to this team 2 years in a row, but it did. And here we are. Okay, last one. The wide receivers. Where is your panic meter? Are you at full panic, mild panic, or no panic?
Couldn't even find the panic button if I wanted to panic about it. Brett Veach has said on 2 separate occasions, verbatim, that Rashee Rice is, in his mind, a top 10 NFL receiver, not like top 10 Chiefs, not top 10 even Chiefs for the last decade. He says Rashee Rice is on par with CeeDee Lamb, St. Brown, Mike Evans. Those are the other names in the top 10 NFL wide receivers. And he thinks Rice is among them. What team is getting a top 10 wide receiver addition at midseason this year? Nobody. The Chiefs are, imagine if another team said, hey guys, we just traded for Mike Evans, by the way. How does that make you all feel? Ecstatic. That's how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like the offense is going to be great. Xavier Worthy, every bit the first rounder, growing into an impact. I mean, down the stretch, did you see him? He was dominating. Having both of those, I could care if Hollywood Brown becomes a tertiary target, and that's it. If Juju Smith-Schuster becomes 1 or 2 targets a game at inopportune times for the defense, I mean, the addition of one of those guys changes everything because everyone else's role changes. You know, Pat was even saying, hey, last Friday, Hollywood had to take Hollywood's routes and Xavier's routes. I mean, like one guy going down changes the game for everything, which means that one guy coming back changes the game for everything. So if Worthy's coming back in a couple weeks, if Rashee Rice is coming back week 7 against the Raiders, you couldn't even. I'm not even here to entertain any panic about it. What about you? Are you panicked about the receivers?
It's really funny because if I get any criticism from the listeners of this show, it's that I'm too positive. And this show, I've not been. I'm not in a positive place. I'm going to go mild panic. Yeah, I'm going to go mild panic. Not full panic because of the things you mentioned. Because Xavier Worthy seems like he's going to be able to come back. Rashee Rice is there. I think Hollywood Brown is he's obviously already contributing, and while it's not maybe exactly what we would love to see, he's part of the puzzle, and he has the trust of Patrick Mahomes, and he has made plays. And I think that he'll be if he stays healthy there, he's going to help this team through this time. My mild panic comes from, when do we get Worthy back? How effective will he be with playing with this injury? And what can they navigate losing that first game, maybe losing this weekend till they get Rashee Rice back? So that's where my mild panic comes in. But on the whole, I was very excited about the receiving core heading into this season. Year 2 of Worthy, getting Rice back, Hollywood Brown actually being on the field. And I think it could go from not so ideal to really pleasing once Rice gets back, but they got to get there.
Yeah. It is going to be a week by week, set like a progression that we're gonna have to watch.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's Josh Simmons learning the role. It's Kingsley learning the role. It's all there.
Yeah. And I saw somebody in the chat. I just want to call this out. Somebody in the chat was saying, I want to see more 12 and 13 personnel. And because I was Major Chip. I'm a big Bill Barnwell fan. I read all his stuff. He has a great write up on the Chiefs today over at ESPN. And this is from his article. He said, unless the Kelsey of a few years ago is going to suddenly appear, I don't think the Chiefs can count on him to create openings and carry the offense on third down. And though they have shifted towards larger personnel groupings after trading away Hill, the Chargers were able to bottle up those 12 and 13 personnel packages on Friday night. By NFL Next Gen Stats EPA model, the Chiefs succeeded on only 21% of their snaps out of 12 and 13 personnel against the Chargers, down from 49% success rate on those snaps during the 2024 regular season. Now, that's one game, but that's something that, and the Chiefs, if they want to succeed in those run groupings, you know what they need to be able to do? Run the ball. They need to be able to run the ball, or nobody's going to care, because they're not going to believe that they'll just send out cornerbacks. They'll be like, screw it. They're not going to run it. I don't care who they can put the jumbo set out there, and they'll just send in all their DBs and play dime. So that's my concern with that. But check out that article by Bill. All right. We're going to preview Eagles Chiefs. We're going to give you our final score predictions. So start thinking about yours. We want to see it in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button. Before we do, though, I got to tell you about this game-changing product I use before a night out with drinks. It's called pre-alcohol. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the next day like I used to. I'm 42. And I have to make a choice. Do I want to have a great night or do I want to have a great day? And that is until I found pre-alcohol. So let me tell you, there's a surefire way for you to wake up feeling fresh after drinks with friends. It's pre-alcohol. Zbiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by a PhD scientist to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's a buildup of that byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme that breaks this product down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you can feel your best tomorrow. This stuff's incredible. It's science. It is a science fight for feeling bad the day after having a few drinks. So fall's right around the corner. So if you want to raise your glass to our favorite team, tailgating, enjoying college game day, or watching Sunday's action, don't forget Zbiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink. Drink pre-alcohol before drinking and enjoy great days after celebrating all season long. And you can go to zbiotics.com/arrowhead to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use the code Arrowhead at checkout. Zbiotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember, you can support the show by going to zbiotics.com/arrowhead. That's key. And use our code Arrowhead at checkout and you'll get 15% off. What more can you like? Protect yourself at your next tailgate. Okay, let's get to this Eagles game, Matt. You may be not surprised to hear that I am not feeling especially optimistic about it. The Chiefs are home dogs in this game, even though that road game was kind of like a home game for them. There were a lot of Chiefs fans there. At 1.5 point underdogs and over under of 46.5. Matt, do you think that the Chiefs should be underdogs at home in this game?
Sure. If you're facing the Super Bowl champs, I would hope any team facing the Chiefs at home over the last 2 years would also be underdogs against the defending champs. You earn that respect when you earn the trophy. So I get that. Also, if you watch the Chiefs in week 1, they should be underdogs. With that flood effort, you would think they'd be underdogs against most teams in the NFL in week 2, although that's an overstatement. Honestly, if we're drinking things before getting drunk around here, maybe the Chiefs should drink pre-defeat on Sunday, because I have the Eagles winning by 2, 22-20. You were going to ask me anyway, so I thought I would just go there.
Yeah, you got a close game. I'm just concerned. I mean, what do you like in this one? Do you think that who's got to step up, right, on the offensive side of the ball if the Chiefs are going to have a chance in this?
On the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah.
I mean, Travis is going to have to be something more, I think I will say, I think Hollywood is still working his way back into things, and even in the game looked more comfortable offensively as the game went on. I think that will, now that he knows what role he's going to have to play with Worthy out, I think that's going to look a little bit better. Also, so I think both those guys are just going to have to carry something. I was hoping that Jalen Royals was going to be able to play at this point in the season. He's not. Andy's already said he's out. Maybe you're hopeful that Worthy plays, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't have I don't think they have enough. I think the Eagles have this one, although I don't think the Eagles are the team they were 8 months ago. There was a lot of offseason losses. I don't think they're as fearsome as they were, but I still think they're the better team at this point.
I'm with you. I don't know. It's going to have to be Travis Kelce. I just, on the offensive side of the ball, if he could step up and have a turn back to clock game, the Chiefs might be able to keep up in this one. If he doesn't, with the injuries and potentially without Worthy and no Rice, I'd feel better about this game if it was week 15 and everybody was healthy and we'd had a season for the Chiefs to kind of get it together. But early in the season, you have some new faces in the Chiefs secondary playing more. You've got a new left side of the line. You've got guys missing with injury. And the Eagles, while they lost some people on defense, and the Cowboys scored a lot of points on them, yeah, man, they're still like that Super Bowl team. Like their core, they're a lot of their main big time players, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, they are there. That is an all-star offensive lineup. And after what we just saw from this Chiefs defense, I think you're going to see Gardner Minshew in this game, and not because the Chiefs are winning. I think the Chiefs are going to get boat raced in this football game. I have no reason to believe, based on what we saw in week 1 and the injuries and the cohesiveness of this Eagles team, to believe that the Chiefs have any shot in this game, outside of the fact that they have Patrick Mahomes. But somebody has to get open. Somebody has to catch the ball. And honestly, if it might be better for them if they just get stomped right away and get him out of the game, because if he starts trying to pull that crap that he was pulling, I know he is trying to get the team juiced up, and I love that as a competitor. Like, I love that. He's going to get hurt, and then we're done. Then the season is sunk. So it's like, if we're going to lose this game,
Well, you're
right?
there. You're there, man. You're there, and like,
I mean, you saw the Super Bowl, and
I did, but that was 8 months ago. I'm not.
Well, right. Well, the Chargers are not. They are not on the Eagles level. They are not.
I'm not sure that they're that far apart. I'm not
Quentin
sure that they're a well-coached team. They've
Johnson
got a great
versus
they got a
AJ
better
Brown.
quarterback than Jalen Hurts.
I don't know that I would agree with, like, he's as a passer, sure, but Jalen Hurts does a lot of things on the football field that makes it. How are they going to stop them? How are they in the Super Bowl? They sold out to stop Saquon Barkley, and they got smoked. They were like, let's make Jalen Hurts beat us throwing the ball.
Totally.
Guess what he did? He beat him throwing the ball. And that was when they had a better secondary than they do, this year. They got torched last week. AJ Brown he had like very low production. Devontae Smith had very low production last week. Dallas Goedert may not play in this one, but how are you going to stop this team? You're going to sell out to stop Saquon Barkley again, like you did in the Super Bowl, after the way your secondary has been playing? That's probably not going to work out too well. You think you can drop everybody back? Great. That dude, Saquon Barkley, he looked good to me. He didn't look tired after last season in that first Eagles game. He's going to run for 1,000,000 yards. I just don't know that they have what they need to stop this team right now. And the best thing that they could have, I think, would be an offense that can keep up and run the football and slow the game down. And I don't think they are going to run the football, and I don't think they have the offense right now to keep up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
Well,
Green.
I'm with you. I think they'll lose. I do think they lose. If there's a hope and a prayer, it's the only player that scares anyone is, funnily enough, is Tyquan Thornton. I mean, he's the only guy that can actually be a mismatch and like make defenses really have to if that connection can be made, they can make the Eagles pay. But
the Cowboys were able to throw on this. I mean, they were able to. Dak was slinging it.
Yeah. So maybe that's your thing, but I got to see that proof before I can say Tyquan Thornton's going to be the X factor here. That feels silly to say.
Yeah. And look, man, I want to be wrong. Like this, I'm not praying for this. I have to sit here and talk about this for an hour after on Sunday. But I think it's Eagles 35, Chiefs 20. Like I just think it's.
You said a Minshew. You said a Minshew mania appearance.
Gardner Minshew plays the fourth quarter. Yeah, that's what I think.
Hope
I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that last week was an abnormality, that the defense comes out and plays better, that the game plan is better, and that the offense gets rolling. It does have Patrick Mahomes. But and this has been all going back to when I was the editor of Arrowhead Addict myself, and I would make my predictions on the site, and people would get mad at me anytime I picked it. And I get criticized for being too positive on the show. I never pick against the Chiefs. I don't know that I picked against them at a single time last year. I'm picking against them.
They're going for a three-peat. No one should ever put it,
Yeah. But I always said, if they're playing poorly, if they're playing well and they're playing great, I'm going to pick them until they give me a reason not to, right? If it's a close game against a team, it's the Bills, I'm going to pick the Chiefs because they're the Chiefs. If they're playing like they did last week, I will not be picking them. If they're playing, if they're playing maybe the Giants this week or something like that, I would be picking them. But the defending Super Bowl champs who just killed them and have a high-powered offense, Yeah, give me a reason to pick you, and I'll pick you again. Until then, or you need to be playing like a really terrible team. So I'm against them, and this is what I used to do on the website, and people get mad at me, but I delight in being wrong when I pick against the Chiefs. So let's hope I am. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to all of our members. Hit that link in the description if you want to become a member of the Arrowhead Addict community. Join our private Discord where we have a private 2 fantasy football leagues going right now for members. It's a lot of fun. So find like-minded Chiefs fans and support our show. All right. Thank you to producer Sean for getting us up and running. Thanks again to editor-in-chief of arrowheadaddict.com, Matt Connor. Make sure you're reading his work and all of the incredible work that the team does at arrowheadaddict.com every day to keep up on the latest with the Chiefs. We will see you guys tomorrow for Freaky Friday and then for our Chiefs pregame, halftime, and postgame show on Sunday. But until then, as always, go Chiefs.